And if you can just stay for a moment, Katrina, to make sure my slide presentation works. And so I think everybody knows who I am by now, but just in case you don't, I'm Cynthia Allen, and I'm partner in Future Life Now, who has been bringing you this 3-part live this last week, and is now ready to, for those of you who feel like, gosh, this really speaks to me, and I want to maybe pursue this a little bit further. We're going to have the discussion on how would you do that today. Let me share my screen, because this will definitely need to be a PowerPoint, but it won't be as long as that awful long one I did on, osteoarthritis and osteoporosis. So let me just encourage you there. It was important information, but very long. So Katrina, you see just the title slide?
Yep, that looks good.
Okay, and that advanced for you?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Good. Yep. So let me get my screen set up so I can monitor chat a little bit, making sure everything is here and available. And let me get the chat over here. Great. So good. So this is a discovery session for our 2025 Bones for Life program at Future Life Now. If you have not yet participated in the 3-part live series, you've got until Thursday, midnight Eastern time on Thursday. That's the 10th, to watch the replays. So be sure that you get over there and start watching them. If your particular interest is related to osteoporosis or osteoarthritis, you might want to watch session 3 first. But otherwise, I recommend that you start at the beginning and just get as far as you can get. And so, we're warming up here, at least in my side of the hemisphere. And it will not be too terribly long before we see these incredible emergence of little beings. I've seen the wood bees I think they're wood bees already out and about. And eventually we'll be watching this incredible metamorphosis of these butterflies, these moths. So I really think of this somatic work as that opportunity to start changing the trajectory of your life starting right now. And I base that on my own experience with the power of Bones for Life. I want to just cover a couple of people or stories that some of which you've heard before and some of which you haven't heard, but you probably remember me talking about Beth. And you get to see a picture of Beth and her grandchildren. Beth, a physical therapist of 40 plus some years, a Feldenkrais practitioner, somebody who knew a lot about osteoporosis and balance and all kinds of different ways to exercise, but she had that diagnosis like a lot of us have had, and she went, oh gosh, I want to be able to play with these young kids, look at how active they are, what they're doing, and I'm scared. I'm scared to run. I'm scared I'm going to fall. And the incredible benefit that she got from the program. And she did become a Bones for Life teacher, but that really wasn't her aim in the beginning. Her aim in the beginning was to not have so many accidents and injuries, to be able to feel like she could get out and run again with her kids. And she talked about how she began to feel in a new way the ground, her feet. When she's running, she says, I feel every bit of how my foot is on the ground. And says the work is so practical. And that is really true. The work is extremely practical. You also heard Brian talk a little bit about Nikki Owens. She's a yoga instructor, yogi and yoga instructor, and many other things, actually. She's extremely credentialed. And, she had actually 2 injuries in her yoga class when she was a student, both times with a really highly acclaimed instructor, internationally instructor. And one of them was to her neck, and the other one was to her hamstring. And Brian talked a little bit about the one with her neck, and after her neck, she realized, just after learning, just bouncing on heels the way you all have had, she just had a little introduction to it, that she could start to heal that neck through bouncing on heels, just a little bit at a time in the morning while she was at the sink. But she also suffered a hamstring injury later. And she describes this. She says, my body, I know my body, and some days my body can go places and other days it can't. And I had my leg really where my leg could go. It couldn't go any further, but the teacher came by and gave it a light adjustment, which turned out not to be light at all for her. And she said, I felt my hamstring tearing like pearls on a necklace. Oh,
Oh,
yeah, right. Doesn't that sound just horrible? So yes, she uh, signed up for the Bones for Life immersion program, and later she signed up for the teacher program, but she signed up for the immersion program, and she found incredible healing for her hamstring through the program. This is her quote herself about how she could be brushing her teeth or drying off and just doing bouncing on heels. Nettie, after immersion 1, she wrote this comment that just completely blew me away. She was in immersion 1, it blew me away. She said, yesterday I was thinking, what kind of life can I make now that I'm out of bed? And Christine talked about how much it gave her nervous system a break. One of the big advantages of somatic education is it tends to be able to bring people back to kind of a more solid, what I would call a ground zero, a place which is neither ahead or underneath or in the past or in the future, but a moment in time where you can find, here I am, and I don't have to rush. I don't have to be thinking about what happened to me in the past. I don't have to be worrying about the future. And she says, I didn't see any value in these small movements. So after the 3-part live, I almost didn't sign up, but I was mistaken. Having done the first immersion, I'm reaping exponential growth in all areas of my life because it spills over into everything I am doing. And I'm looking forward to immersion 2 and 3. Sharana Mueller, boy, I mean, Sharana came into the program and she was voracious in her desire to get everything she possibly could get. 70 something, retired social worker, always had been active, always had been helping people. But she discovered a few years earlier that she had scoliosis. She was having pain, she was having back pain. She sees an orthopedist and he says, hey, you've got scoliosis. He didn't just say you have scoliosis. He said you have a significant curvature, something she had been unaware of. Nobody had ever told her, so she didn't know that she had this. And she tried physical therapy and she got some benefit, and she tried working out and she got some benefit, but she still had this ongoing pain and she didn't feel her balance was what it used to be. And then her husband got very sick and she was traveling with him to Mayo Clinic, and she felt, I have to be the strong one. I've got to be the strong one here. And she found that with Bones for Life, her back pain stopped. She was able to get back onto her nice daily hour-long walk. She would feel like sometimes she'd like to do speed walking, and she would see sometimes that she would pass younger people and it gave her a giggle. Like she says, it wasn't my goal. It's not that I was thinking I had to walk faster than younger people, but it was fun when that actually happened. And she acknowledges that while her posture isn't perfect, and we're not looking for perfect, we're looking for what's available to each person. We're not looking for perfect. And she said, well, it's not perfect. I feel that I get closer all the time to something that's healthier for my back, healthier for my posture. And she talks about how she uses the work on a regular basis. I love this picture of her with her dog. Her physical therapist said that her scoliosis is severe enough that if she were not out there moving and doing the things that she does, that I think she said it's he said it might, that she was the kind of person that might need surgery. And when you're in your 70s and 80s is not the time you want to be looking at scoliosis surgery, I'll tell you. Ellen, chronic regional pain syndrome. For those of you who are familiar with chronic regional pain syndrome, either as a professional or you have suffered with it, you will know that this is quite the booger to deal with. It is hard to deal with chronic regional pain syndrome, to find ways to work with it. And I have to say I would not have thought that the Bones for Life program would be so good for people with chronic regional pain syndrome with CPRS. But Ellen is not the only person we've had come through with CPRS who has done much, much better. As you know, these are actual changes in the spinal cord, actual changes in the brain, and the pain can be the sensitivity, the temperature changes, different coloration of the skin, hair growth, not hair growth. I mean, really, it's an extraordinary journey for someone to recover from. And so Ellen, after immersion one, she said, I hurt a lot less than I did when I started. That is a huge statement. When I get up, I ask myself, what is it I want right now? Now that's a shift. When I get up, I ask myself, not like, if you have chronic pain, you know how it goes. You get up and you go, what hurts? What hurts? What hurts? What hurts? Right? How bad is it today? What am I going to be able to do today? She says, I ask myself, what is it I want right now? And I might focus on my ribs that allow me to breathe. I might do something really quick and gentle. If I have 15 minutes, I'll do an official Bones for Life process. I use it in response to what my need is at the time. And I and then skipping from, she had hers came from a wrist. Her chronic regional pain syndrome came from a wrist. I believe it was a fracture that then evolved into CPRS. CRPS. That's wrong down here. CRPS. She then went on to say it, and I had a 30-year-old back injury. That's not even part of the chronic regional pain syndrome. I have a 30-year-old back injury, but I noticed it doesn't hurt anymore. Immersion one, pretty doggone cool. This is Lorraine. Lorraine is a lifelong fitness instructor, delightfully well-educated woman who has been working with her people in Columbus, Indiana, tirelessly. And she's a Pilates instructor as well as other things. And she said, she made this observation. She said, when my Pilates classes are over and we come to stand, I watch people wipe off their mats and go to their phone and their shoes into the dressing room. And I can see their old habits creep in. But with Bones for Life, I'm not seeing that. I see something different, a posture that is muscular, that is held, it's sustained, not an uprightness that quickly goes back to the old slouch. And this is what we're really looking for in somatic education, is something that tunnels into the nervous system, into the motor cortex, so that the organization, we call it organization, the organization of upright, the use of gravity does not have to be thought about all the time, but that it comes forward from this very deep, natural place to help a person find their way in the world. And Amy Morris, a physical therapist who specializes in osteoporosis, scoliosis, and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, EDS, talked about the work in two different ways that I thought was particularly important. Is that she's like, I signed up because I knew right away that my patients who are so scared of refracturing, they've already had a fracture, that it takes a long time for me to find something that they can be comfortable with and feel safe trying. And so she's really been able to use the program for her osteoporosis patients extremely effectively. And also, for those of you who are interested in it for a professional reason as well, you might want to know that she says, I've gotten tons of benefit, just like it happens that what's good for my patients is good for me. And I do a lot of virtual online training, and your system is the best I have ever used. And we hear this quite a lot. The chapters and the replays are amazing. They really are amazing. So here's a picture of us out in a park. We're doing a particular Bones for Life process called Pull Hands, which is a partner process that actually happens in immersion too, in which we really start to find not only rhythm and dance and listening to another person, but we use that other person as an instrument for finding our alignment and our power of our mid and upper back, right all the way down through the front of the heel. So I'm going to talk about this in two sections today. And if you put a question in the chat that, where did my chat go again? If you put a question in the chat that is related to what I'm talking about right that moment, I will try to answer it right that moment. Otherwise, I'm going to wait for questions within sections. The first section is going to be for those people who are more interested in taking it for their own health. And so we're going to talk about that. Now, teachers or potential professional teachers, etc., you still need to listen to this. We'll stop and do a few questions about that, and then we'll go on to the teacher training part. So you have options. You can start with immersion 1 only. Each immersion is 20 hours, 5 weeks long. And I'll talk about the time options for that. Or you can decide from the very beginning that you want to do immersions 1 through 3. And that actually allows you to complete a basic certification for your personal health. Immersions 1 through 3, that basic certification is a requirement for going on to be a teacher. And then you need to attend 75% of it live to receive your certificate or to get your continuing education unit. So that's something to think about. You don't have to have your camera on, and although we really encourage you to have your cameras on, because that's how we teach better. We can see what the struggles are. But if you do want to get a certification or continuing education, you need to have your camera on most of the time. We want to be able to watch and see how you're doing within the program and what your level of understanding is. Now, each immersion, as I said, is 20 hours long, and you learn 20 to 28 movement processes. We give ourselves some wiggle room there because live classes need wiggle room, right? But typically, I would say almost every immersion, you're going to get very close to 28 movement processes. There's actually 30 in each immersion. We're never going to cover all 30 because some of them really don't translate to online learning very well. And so we don't try to cover something that just doesn't have a good translation to online learning. And some of them are maybe just a little bit too advanced. We would like to be with you in person, so we cover those in the teacher training. They're not ones that we typically do a lot with in the general public. You'll for sure experience the power of somatic education. You'll get that quieting of the nervous system and that reduction of pain. I would be very surprised if you didn't get a reduction in pain. Improvement, I totally expect you to have the kind of improvement in your posture, your balance, and your flexibility that we found in our pilot study. And each immersion systematically addresses the joints throughout your body. So it's what we've introduced you to in the 3-part live series is things that we feel like we could more easily adapt to really large audiences that maybe have a lot of variation in what their capacity is to do. But there is a long range of processes, with immersion 1 having the most accessibility for everybody. And then every immersion, you're going to go deeper. And in the going deeper, you're coming back through the body again. You're addressing those same areas, but in a much more deeper focused way, becoming more and more about the upright work as opposed to lying on the floor or the bed. And you just get a little more power in each time. Yeah, I'm gonna go over that. I haven't really gone over it yet, Lucy, and I don't know what you mean, Nancy. And I'll answer personal health questions, Amara, afterwards, because those are easier to grab afterwards. Okay. So let's get into the dates and times. So we offer 3 options a week. And Mondays, 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern time with a 30-minute meal break. I'm going to say all these, and then I'm going to talk about what all the things you're going on with your mouth dropped open, like going, right. Or some people sign up to do a Wednesday, Friday option, and Wednesday and Fridays is 6 p.m. to 8:15. Sometimes ends at 8, but we give ourselves that extra 15 minutes. And then the third option is some people sign up for Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Now you can mix and match these. Yes, we're also going to send them out in email. You can mix and match these, but you will be asked to choose which one is going to be your primary one so that you are not inundated with emails all week long about what's happening that day. So you do need to select one as your primary one. And we kind of hope you'll stick with one as your primary one more, because the instructors will do better at getting to know you than if you just jump all over the place. Now, you're looking at that and going, whoa, 4.5 hours. So let me try to alleviate your concern about that. So first of all, it's called an immersion because we want to help you immerse in the work. So we could teach this as a weekly class, 1 hour a week or an hour and 15 minutes, but we don't find that people get the same level of stimulation for change as they do when they do more like a chunk like this. A little bit, we're trying to overwhelm your habits, not in a way that is stressful or feels like it could be hurt, but we're trying to make it harder for you to go back into your old habit pattern. We have found that people do really well with this online immersion process. That doesn't mean that every single person is set up for doing 4 hours at a time. We're going to continue to encourage you to take care of yourself, but you don't do 4 hours of nonstop movement. You basically are going to learn about one movement process per hour. There's going to be conversation and reflection. There'll be some short little breaks. You'll be continued to be encouraged to watch, lie down, listen, come back when you're ready. No pressure. As long as you don't need it for continuing education, you can stop 1 hour in, 2 hours in, and wait for the replay to come up and say, I'm gonna work on the replay throughout the rest of the week to break it up. Also, if you're someone who considers yourself to be somewhat very fatigued or fragile, you might want to do the Wednesday, Fridays where they're in 2-hour sections broken up. Okay. The sessions, Monday fills up quickly. If you're a Monday person, Pamela, I would say that one fills up quickly. Usually it goes Monday fills first, Wednesday, Friday fills second, and Saturday fills last. And you can mix and match, but again, your space is held because we have maximums and minimums based on what you sign up for. 50 is our class size limit, 5 weeks long, 5 weeks long. Okay, so let me, oops, can't see my own little thing here. Okay, so there's a few little things I want to make sure that you know about, because these are little extras that matter. You get lifetime access to the recordings. These recordings have chapters put in them and search features, what will make it easier for you to use. You will not be expected to like know all 20 processes or 28 processes when you're done, not even if you're going to be going on for a teacher. You're expected to have been exposed to them, have felt them in your body, learned something about yourself, and then you will have the videos and audios to go back to. You can download the audio, but if you do, you will lose like these chapters and search features. But that's always a possibility if you have trouble with bandwidth. And then we have CEUs through the National Certification Body Work and Massage Therapy Board, as well as the Feldenkrais Guild. You really want to be sure if you're needing CEUs with a physical therapy, OT, even massage therapy. Like we discovered that the state of Florida refuses to cover this national certification. And even when we supplied our really, I mean, it's a killer set of learning objectives and hour by hour schedule, they still went, no, we're not covering it. You have to come through us. So occasionally an organization won't take them. The vast majority of them I've heard over and over it does. I believe New York's physical therapy is also so they won't take them. So just be sure you check. Ask us if you need documentation. Now, the deadline to sign up for this is midnight, Monday, April 14th. That sounds like a long ways away. It's not. It's just a little over a week, right? Well, actually, it is a week. But we want to give you enough time to consider what your own personal situation is and ask your questions. And then, of course, to get signed up. Now, let's see here. Let's see. So Brian Shercliffe is going to be your lead instructor. He makes sure that all the cogs and the wheels turn on time. Brian and Andrea will be teaching Mondays and Saturdays. And then Brian and Christine teach Wednesday, Friday. The replays for the class, you have lifetime access for them. You have lifetime access for the class. And again, if you even worried about, I don't know, maybe our website going down or something, you could download the audios to make sure you had that. And then I will come for a cameo in each of the immersions, and I love doing it, but I won't be there a lot. My big thing is going to be in the teacher training. So you'll get me for about 2.5 hours in each immersion, and I'll start to get to know you in that way. But your other instructors, Brian, Andrea, and Christine, are the ones who's really going to get to know you over the course of it until such time as you decide you're maybe going on for teacher training. It's also a bonus that you get the 3-part live series at no charge, and that we would normally charge $200 for that. You know, that is a fantastic 3-part series. That's why you all are here right now. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything, is because you do know how valuable it is. And so how confident are we that you'll benefit from Bones for Life? Well, we will issue a refund if you do not get improvement. So it's based on improvement, and it's based on improvement within immersion 1. So if after immersion 1, it's within like 2 weeks after it ends, you have a couple of weeks to write us and say, I did not get any better. I had back pain. It didn't improve. I didn't notice any kind of improvement whatsoever in my health, to ask for a refund by May 30th, and we'll refund your registration fees in full. This same refund policy applies to whether you apply for immersion 1, immersions 1 through 3, or the teacher training. You still need to tell us by May 30th, because we're going to be investing in you as a member of the ongoing program. Yes, when the classes start the week of Katrina, if you're back there, could you give me when the classes start? I think it's 2 weeks later. I think I forgot to write that down, Claire.
The class, for immersion 1?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. They start the week of April 21st.
Okay. They start the week of April 21st. Thank you so much. I'm going to give you a web page too, where you can look up all this, the same information, as well as you're going to get it by email. So we're going to give you several ways. Those of you who do better with hearing someone talk, or maybe you want to match this to the web page, that's great. So what do you do if you have vacations or you're already planned to miss a class? Yeah, you go back and do the replay as you can. I would say there's very few weeks that the program is so precious that you absolutely have to do that replay before you go on to the next one. I say, if you don't get to the replay, show up at the next class anyway. Say to yourself, I'm going to come back and do that replay sometime. Don't let yourself get bogged down into thinking, oh my gosh, I missed one. I'm not going to have time to do it. Therefore, I shouldn't show up this week. Don't do that. Keep moving forward. You will make progress. It's not the end of the world. And yes, you will have the replay to always go back and do at any time. And remember, you can mix and match. So some of you will be gone like the whole week, and that matters. But other times you will not be, you might be gone on Monday, but you're not gone on Saturday. So you can come on Saturday. Also, we're going to get into some holidays. So when you go to really read about the registrations, you'll see that the dates of it are trying to take into consideration like Easter, Passover, Memorial Day. It doesn't take into consideration holidays all over the world, but it does a fairly good job of getting some of the major ones for most of us anyway. Yes, Karen, the three immersions are not the same content, not at all. Not at all. You'll do some review in 2 about 1, and you'll do some review in 3 about 2, but you will be exposed to the next level of advancement of Bones for Life processes for that immersion. And yes, you do. In my program, you cannot do 2 before you do 1. You do need to do 1 first. So why would you sign up now? Well, here's just the truth. Life keeps happening. It keeps moving forward. And if you're not moving forward towards your health, you're not moving in a good direction, right? So if you know this is for you and the calling for you is clear, this is the time to do it, because it's always a question. What will I be like in a year from now, right? There's let's see. Okay, let me talk about money. I seem to have lost the slide on what it costs. Okay, I just see my slide on what it costs. It's just gone. So let me talk about money. A single immersion is $575, but when you sign up for all 3 immersions, you get immersion 3 free. So that means you save $575 by signing up for all 3 immersions. Let me get back to where I should be here. You might feel like it sounds like a little bit pricey, but it's really not when you consider the quality of the online training, the interaction that you're going to get, and the lifetime access. It's an extremely, it's very much, as Sharana says, it's worth every single penny. And she had done a lot of programs. And we hear this over and over again. Let me try to look here for I mean, you don't want to be switching your primetime class throughout the whole thing. And that would depend on whether or not there was enough space, Janice. But I mean, if you have to switch halfway through, you can find out and ask us if you can switch. So let me stop this for a moment and let's just take questions about immersions 1 through 3. For those of you who are doing it for your own health only, before I go on to talk about the teacher training part of it. And I know there was someone that asked something about her wrist. Let me see if I can find that. Amara said, I broke my wrist in January and I am in OT. Would I be able to do this program? That is a really early break. So normally I would want you to have a break that was healed. You are yeah, I don't think it's a good idea, Amara. I'll just tell you that. I think you should wait. So you're in order your health guidelines, it is a gentle program, but it is still a movement program. You can hurt yourself doing anything, getting out of bed, walking down the street. That's how most of us hurt ourselves anyway. But don't mistake the fact that it's gentle for the fact that that if you have had recent surgery or a recent fracture, you can definitely make that situation worse. So you want to be cleared for normal activity and the ability to participate in an exercise program. It won't feel like an exercise program, but still you should check with your physical therapist, your doctor, and say, am I cleared to participate in a gentle exercise program? If they say no, then don't sign up yet. Your health, your safety is way more important than that's one reason why you should not take it right now, for sure. We want you to be safe. I'm going to get Rhonda. Rhonda, let me ask you to unmute. I'm sorry. Okay. Let me try it again. Your lower left
There we go.
corner. There you go.
I keep I keep pressing on it and nothing happens. Recently, you probably know, I had signed up for the Your Learning Body program. Unfortunately for me, right at the beginning, I got COVID. So that kind of knocked me out. So I'm signed up for that for a whole year. And I came to you, my physical therapist had told me about the program because I think she's also studied with you for the Bones for Life. And she also did some stuff with Ruthie Alon. 3 years ago, I had something happen when I bent forward, and it's had this cascading effect with my back that's gone on now. I've had osteopaths work on me every week for 3 years. I mean, I've had all kinds of stuff, 6 MRIs, the whole 9 yards. The thing that I'm dealing with more at the moment is this pins and needles that goes from the waist down. There's nothing on my MRIs. Yes, I have bulging discs and all this, but nothing says that a nerve is being impinged. So they honestly have no clue what's happening in there. So I started the Your Learning Body and was trying to just move things very slowly. But one of the things that I want to be able to do is walk and lift things, et cetera, et cetera. And I tried the bounce on heels the very first time, and it seemed to increase the pins and needles. And then another time, I think when we went over it, they said, don't lift your heels as much. And I think maybe I had gone at it too much. The second time, it didn't bother it. So now what I'm wondering is this, should I be in one program and not the other? Should I add immersion one? Because I'm not looking at this to get certified in anything. I want to be able to do all the things. I've got 5 grandchildren. I want to be able to go back to my activities. I live in the woods. We lift wood, and I haven't been able to do any of this.
Okay. I'm going to talk about this generally because other people have questions about this, and then also specifically for you, Rhonda.
Okay.
So we offer 2 major movement programs at Future Life Now. One of them is Your Learning Body, which is the Feldenkrais method, awareness through movement. And that is an ongoing community with classes unfolding on a regular basis, as well as a really major library. And then the other one is Bones for Life, which is taught in an immersion format. And so it's much more of a big, I call it, coming from a medical background, I call it a big bolus of information. It's like when a snake swallows a big egg and then it has to take all that time to digest it, to make use out of it. That's how we teach Bones for Life. Now, when you try to make a decision between the 2 works, the first thing that I would say is that if you're looking to improve your bone health in some way, the program that you belong in is Bones for Life. Because it does much more with upright processes and putting pressure through the axial skeleton. Also, it has less risky movements for people who do have osteoporosis. And if you're over 50, especially women, if you're over 50, you should assume you have osteoporosis or osteopenia going towards that, unless you've been tested to prove otherwise, because the chances are better that you have it than if you don't. So your safety is easier to keep track of in Bones for Life. However, as long as you follow the restrictions guidelines around not going into end range movements, staying very small with flexion and twisting movements, you can do either program safely. Still, if what you want is to impact your bone health, you should do Bones for Life. Back pain, I have had thousands of people get over their back pain with Feldenkrais awareness through movement, and I've had thousands get over their back pain with Bones for Life. I can't predict who is going to do better in which program. Usually, occasionally I can, but most of the time I don't do it very effectively. So I think it's not good for me to say for sure, Rhonda. It's not uncommon that you would first go, gosh, that kind of hurts. I don't like that. Then for you to go, gosh, that causes the pins and needles. You will learn over time. Oh, when I do this, I get an increase in pins and needles. When I do that, I get a decrease in it. Now, since you haven't really had a good chance to try out Your Learning Body, it makes it harder, doesn't it, for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have a couple of options. If you're a yearly member in your learning body, you know that you get a discount if you sign up, as long as you stay a member. But if you're a new member to your learning body and you want to change out, you want to go to Bones for Life instead of your learning body, we'll help make that happen for you. You won't get the discount, but we'll help you make that happen for you. We'll figure out some kind of proration of your fees just to make
Does
that clear.
does the is it too overwhelming to somebody? I mean, I'm 65 years. I'm
Most people,
65
I
years
think
old. I know I have already been diagnosed with osteopenia, then went through menopause. So, okay, we can all assume that, right? And so I know that. I mean, I've been exposed to physical therapy. I mean, I've had it all. And I want to be able to have my life.
yeah.
I mean, I've done
Right.
it. It's like,
It's
I
a lot of
saved my arm.
hours.
It's a
It's
lot
a
of
lot of
hours.
hours if you do both. It's a lot of hours if you do both. So I
Okay.
do have people who do both, and it always shocks me. I couldn't put that many hours into it myself, but we do have people who do it. So only you know you. I mean, I personally myself would not be able to do both programs at the same time. That's me.
I mean, so do you think it's more of I should shift from one to the other just for the time
Yeah, I
being?
think you should, if it were me, I would
Yeah.
shift from one to the other. That's what I would do.
Okay.
You
All
don't have
right.
to do what I would do, but that's
Well,
what I would do.
I'm doing what you're going to recommend because you've been doing it a long time and you have a lot of respect. So and I want the best outcome.
Yeah.
And then if I decided to do, because this program is not set up like that, right? This is not like it's not a year long type of a program where I'm like Your Learning Bodies, this year long thing that's going on all the time.
Right.
This is not
Your
like
learning
that.
body is a community that keeps going and going and going. Most people keep rejoining even after a year.
Yeah.
But Bones for Life will be over. It's a distinct period of time. Now, someone asked a question, and I'm going to go on, Rhonda, and maybe
Yeah.
some of the answers will come from
Go
something
ahead.
else. Someone said, Cindy asked, if you don't go on to the teacher training, is there a membership of some sorts afterwards? It's not a membership, but there are a couple of options. When you do at least immersion 1 and 2, you have to do at least immersion 1 and 2. We will connect you into peer-led progress pods that are at no charge whatsoever, and people get together regularly and do the replays together. If you've done at least immersion 1, you have the option to sign up for 8-week classes with Brian that mostly focus on immersion 1 processes. So that's how people who are not going on for teachers can stay connected. And of course, some people just choose to do the replays. I'm not a replay person much. I got to have a community. So I'm always like looking for who's going to work, who's going to do it with me. I'm always looking for that. But some people just do great doing replays, and go for it. That's totally go for it. Joyce, I think you maybe have your hand raised. Is that correct? Yeah. I can't quite see your hand on that background. Yeah. I'm asking you to unmute. And while Joyce is trying to unmute, let's see, there was something else. Janice, no, that was, somebody was asking about the
I did it.
classes. Look, okay, just a second. So the Wednesday, Friday, there were double classes because they're only 2 hours. You got to get your 20 hours in. So you meet twice a week instead of Monday, Saturday, which meets only once a week. Wednesday, Friday meets twice a week in order to get the same 4 hours in. Yes, Joyce.
Okay, that just threw me. The first question that I had asked is, I had heard you mention once that you had trouble standing and you would sit down and leave, and that is a big problem for me. I can't stand in one place for any length of time. If in doing, and it's been, I was an exercise teacher. That doesn't matter now. Will doing this program help that problem? Has it helped? Are you able to do that now? I mean, can you stand in one place for a long period of time now?
Yeah, I can. I can stand quite a long time in one place. And I'm not going to say that, if I'm standing 15, 20 minutes, I don't notice it. I think everybody notices it when you stand. Standing still is way harder than moving for everybody. But I also have all kinds of things now I can do while standing in line. I mean, I keep thinking I need to do it. I mean, I've done some on YouTube on how to stand in a kitchen for long periods, but once that I went on, I think it was the trip to England where we were standing those really long lines to like the to see the Queen or whatever. I thought, gosh, I should need to do a series on a million things you can do while standing in line that are just small and simple that totally alleviate that stress. But yeah, you will. I would be totally shocked, Joyce, if you didn't find standing to be a lot easier after it. Now, neuropathy. Neuropathy is a touchy thing because, first of all, there's so many reasons for neuropathy. So really, a lot of neuropathy, we don't have any reason for at all. We're not even sure. So I have some definite neuropathy in all of my limbs. Mine was a neurological event that happened, and I've had it since then. Other people have neuropathy from diabetes. Some people have neuropathy from spinal injury or stenosis. I mean, there's just a lot of different reasons for neuropathy. So I would say, if the neuropathy is not too far advanced and it's more related to spinal issues, that you probably will get some improvement in the neuropathy. The others, I think, is a little bit more iffy, but here's what will improve. This will improve. If you have neuropathy, you have got to be concerned about your balance, because the less you can feel your feet in clarity, then the more problems you have with losing balance and falling. And you will improve in balance because you will learn that it's not just the sensory information from your feet, from the skin of your feet, from the fascia of your feet that matters, but you can also use the sensory information from all the joints and the bones to give you better balance. So you will improve. I don't know whether your neuropathy will go down, but your balance will improve. And this is something you absolutely need to invest in. Same thing, Nancy, spinal stenosis really depends on how advanced the spinal stenosis is, but the vast majority of people coming into the program with spinal stenosis will get relief. Absolutely get relief. Gail.
Hi, Cynthia. Yeah, mine's a timing question quickly. I definitely want to do this program. It's just a question of when. I'm in the Your Living Body now, loving it, loving it, loving it. And I'm getting ready to move right the week that this starts. I'm moving out of state, and I'm going to be starting the Scroff method as soon as I get up there. So my question is, I don't know. My gut is saying just continue as is until your next bones course.
Yeah, you got an awful lot going on. I think you could really overwhelm yourself. So these are just the realities of life, right? And moving is huge.
Yeah.
Moving is huge. Moving is huge when you're 30, but you don't look 30 to me, Gail. You look
I don't.
You don't look 30. So I mean, moving gets harder every decade of age and can set you back quite a bit. So I would be careful about overdoing it.
Yeah. When is your next Bones for Life series?
Possibly. I mean, it's possible we'll do one later this year, but I can say next year. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And you're in your learning body. So you're in a good place. You've got resources.
Thank you.
Alani.
Hi.
Hi.
I am a little bit confused, not really confused, but a little bit many information, and I need to take some more time to think about all. For me, what I noticed on these 3 days is that for me, the Bones for Life learning is more difficult than the Feldenkrais, because I feel that it goes, in a sense, very deep in a kind of detail. That's how I felt it, at least. And I wasn't always completely clear with what I was learning, as if I was searching. And then you said that it takes time, it takes time, it takes time. So I said, okay, then maybe, I have to get used to this learning, which maybe is close to Feldenkrais, but it is not Feldenkrais. So right now, for me, I don't know if I can do. I would like to try this way of learning. I cannot say yet if I want to continue and do the immersion 2 or 3, but maybe I could try to do the immersion 1. I will write in an email if I have understood everything you said correctly, so that we don't take so much time. But for me, a question that comes up is, if I did the first immersion, could I go back to the Feldenkrais, to your learning body? And if I went back, because I need to continue learning and reorganizing my body through the osteoporosis I have, and through what is happening to me now. So would I have benefited if I did only the immersion and then go back to your learning body?
Yeah, you'll have benefited. I think though, what you're really telling me is that you're getting quite a bit out of your learning body Feldenkrais experience. So if you're getting what you need out of that, I don't think you have to pressure yourself to change at this point. Okay.
I didn't understand you. What did you mean?
I don't think you have to pressure yourself to change to Bones for Life if you're getting what you need right now out of your learning body.
I'm not completely clear about that. Otherwise, I am benefiting from the Feldenkrais, from your learning.
Right. You are,
So,
and you said you found Bones for Life to be difficult and hard. So, I mean, it's okay to stay in your learning body and decide later about it. Okay. Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay, let me grab a couple here from the comments. Cindy, do you find from this experience it's helpful after ankle injuries to resume a good range of motion and mobility? Yes. Yes. Zoe, is the effective heel tapping like doing this movement on a rebounder? No, it is different. And rebounders, yeah, it's definitely different. How many weeks between immersions? There's at least 2, usually 3, sometimes even a little bit more than that coming up this next year. You'll get all the details on the dates. No, Karen, the immersions are not the same content. Yes, you do need to do immersion 1 before. Your learning body is a completely different program, and you can't get into that right now. It won't open again for new members for a while. Once you've taken at least immersion 1, Lucy, you will have a chance to start joining 8-week long, like they're like an hour and 15-minute long classes with Brian. I'm going to give you the links, and you also get the links in email for the sessions. CB. Karen, have people reported changes in bone density? Yes, there's case study changes in bone density after immersions, but I just want to say I don't count case studies as anything other than just that. They're anecdotal reports. And I know from the challenge of showing a reversal in bone mineral density in postmenopausal women that we can't count on Bones for Life to have results that are dramatically different than most other things, which is it doesn't hold up under big studies. So I don't want to tell you, I mean, I maybe would have used to have said it's going to do it. But now that the studies and the reviews have been going on and on and on about what does and doesn't reverse osteoporosis, I think we have to be really honest and say we don't know. But yes, we do have people who've reported changes in bone mineral density after the immersions. Okay, I want to move on to the teacher training part so I don't lose those folks, and then I'll stick around for more questions afterwards. So let me go back to sharing the screen here. I think I've got the right one here. I got the right one. Do I have the right one? Okay. You see a slide that says questions about immersions 1 and 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, great. Okay. So this is what the Bones for Life teacher training program is. You start with immersions 1 through 3. You still get access to the lifetime access to the replay videos. You have the downloadable audios. Here's what starts to become different. When you commit to the teacher training, you immediately get detailed manuals starting that you can track through immersions 1 through 3. These are only available to the people who are becoming teachers. And it's a requirement by the national organization. It's not up to me. If it was up to me, that would be different, but that's the way it is. And then after the first 3 immersions are done, we will start the teacher training in January of 2026, which will be made up of 14 online Saturday sessions from that 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. There'll only be one option. Those of you who are in the other time zones of the hemispheres on the other side of the world, it's tough, but in every teacher training, I usually have about 5 or 6 people who are up in the middle of the night doing it with us, and they make it. And that age range for those has been from 30 to 75, and they make it. So if you want to do it, it's apparently doable because I've seen people do it in each one. And then this is where the big departure is, that also there's a final week where you come to a retreat outside of Cincinnati in order to finish up your teacher training. All of this still requires 75% live attendance, and of course the teacher training. In this teacher training is when we will get into do I say that next? Oh, and you're stuck with me. I'm the one who does the whole thing. Yes, I will have some guest teachers, but you and me, we're going to become a very big best buds. So yeah, let me just continue on here. So you'll become an expert in 10-point analysis of any Bones for Life movement process. You will learn through collaborating with peers from different backgrounds, and we value those different backgrounds. We don't make fun of them. We don't push them to the side. We do try to draw out what the differences are, but you will learn a lot from each other from different backgrounds. Even if your different background is not anything related to movement, maybe you've decided you want to have a second or third focus in your life, career in your life, and you used to be IT. You can be that, and you'll still have a different perspective on movement. You'll get exposure to key NLP, neurolinguistics programming tools for use with yourself and others. You will develop really good observational skills so you can tailor it to your student. You will learn hands-on how to use your hands-on to clarify or enhance the student's progress safely. We have a very different way of touching and a different process than virtually any other kind of approach. You'll understand the applications and contraindications for common bone and joint diagnoses. You'll gain language to talk about Bones for Life to different types of audience. You will identify your own audience, or niche, as it's said in marketing these days, and your passion. You'll get marketing one-on-one in digital and brick and mortar worlds, and you will have peer-led study groups that are optional, but man, they make a big difference. And I've got groups that have been going on for now 4 years. They love each other, and they just keep going. The entire program is a 210-hour program. What is that made up of? Well, it's the first 3 immersions. I'm going to go skip a little bit. The 14 online sessions, the 7-day retreat. Then you have 36 student teaching hours, which you do need to arrange on your own, but I can help give you ideas about how to make that happen. And then 24 hours of mentoring. You'll get 3 private hours of mentoring with me that are included in the fee. And it's unlikely that you will have to pay for any of the rest of the mentoring, because I've got things set up that for mentoring that all of you will do really, really well with. This is Laura Frankenstein. She's a retired family physician. She had just retired not long at all when she came, and she said, I wished I had a time machine that I could travel back to when I was hiring people to work in the community health centers. And she went on to talk about how important it would be to help seniors thrive, get off of all the medications, really have better balance. And that she says as a 65-year-old woman aware that she also is aging. Laura also talked about this program being a phenomenal benefit to her self-confidence and place in the world. We heard that a lot, actually. This is some really big news. Hard for me to say, but I'm going to say it. 2026 is going to be my last Bones for Life teacher training. So if you want to study with me, and I hope you do, because I do love doing teacher trainings, but I don't feel I'm at a place in my life now where I can plan out 2 and 3 years in advance going forward and forward and forward. So I'm making a cut next year after the 2026 teacher training, which actually many of you will still need work with me for a while after the 2026 is over in terms of looking at your student teaching and et cetera. So it's still me planning ahead, but I need to open up my life to have less rigidities that far out. So I hope you want to study with me, and I hope you'll sign up. This is the kind of things we want to see you be able to get back in and do. And I think that you can get back to doing many of the things that you wanted to do, and that you can get back to what we call biological optimism, what Ruthie Alon, the creator of the work, called biological optimism. This feeling inside of you when you get up in the morning that says, I can do this day, I can do this life, I've got it. Yeah. So I am going to put in a couple of links for you. And I thought I had the pricing information again on that. It's like my slideshow didn't update from the other. It's weird. We do have some partial scholarships, by the way. Am I just like skipping over it? Yeah, I don't think it updated. I did it on my laptop and I just don't think it updated. So let me put in the chat for you the links for these programs. So this is the main link so you can click on it and open it up so you'll have it right now. And I might even do a little screen share here for you in a moment. Is it going to go through? Did you get the link? Did it come through for you in your chat? No, it still doesn't want to go through. There it is. There it is. Okay. Now on that page, you will find a link over to the teacher track for those of you who are thinking about the teacher track, but I'm also going to give you a link over to the teacher track. Somebody asked if I sign up to take the Bones for Life Immersion 1, will I have to pay the $575 for each of the? Yes, you do. We're going to give that immersion free only to people who commit to all 3 now, because it benefits us if we know who we have committed for the ongoing immersions. So we want to reward you greatly for that commitment if it's right for you. Teacher training, when you commit now to the teacher training, you will get the immersion 3 free plus an additional $300 off the teacher training. If you wait until somewhere down the line to decide, then you will lose that benefit. And let's see here. Let me pull this out so I can see what's going on a little bit better. Oh, Nancy's here. Hey, Nancy. Nancy's taken the Bones for Life program more than once. Nancy's into it, man. She is into it. Does anybody want to ask any questions? Let's take the teacher training questions at this point, and then we'll come back around and get other questions. Teacher training questions. Mm-hmm. So the teacher training will start January 17th in 2026. Yes, it is. Let's just look at that. So let me do a little screen share here so you can see what the cost is, etc. So this is the main Bones for Life page. I'm just going to hit this enroll now because it'll take me down to the 3 options. So immersion 1 is the $575. Immersions 1 through 3 is the 1150. And here you'll see it talking about the savings, but you've got to click over to the teacher page to get the price on it. And I'm going to scroll down. So watch your eyes. Watch your eyes. Don't let yourself. So the teacher training program is $5,795, and that is including the $300 savings plus the saving of $575, which comes up to a total of $875. So hopefully that'll help you. One thing I want to say is that once you're in the teacher training, you will continue to get more benefits. So you will find that as somebody said, it's like every time I turn around, Cynthia's offering us, giving us something else that there's no charge for that's really, really valuable. So for example, you get access to my posture power balance classes for people with limited mobility. And that is extremely valued by people so they can get a sense about how to adapt processes to different types of groups. You'll like the progress pods, about the time that you're ready for that, the peer led progress pods, you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is such a godsend. You just so many things that we are able to, because of our level of dedication to this program and the sophistication that we've been able to develop, you will be very well cared for, extremely well cared for, and I'm dedicated to your success. Nobody else has any more questions? Am I missing somebody? I can't always see the hands raised. Did you have another one, Joyce?
I have another one, but not about teacher training.
Okay.
Is that okay to ask now?
Yeah.
Okay. Mondays I am booked. I have another class that I don't want to leave, but it ends at 10:30. But could I join it at 10:30 and then do the rest of it and then go back and do the replay for what I missed?
No, you can try it.
I know it's not ideal, but if you do I could do the Wednesday, but then you have to do something. Wednesday's not enough. You have to do another class, right?
You have to
I'm
do
confused
Wednesday,
about
Friday.
it.
You have to do Wednesday, Friday. You can't do. You have to get 4 hours in.
Did I not see Friday on there? I thought it was Wednesday.
Wednesday, Friday.
Okay, that might work. Then I'll have, but then I have to give up. I have to give up your learning body, and I was so looking forward to the next session.
Yeah, the next one's going to be good, isn't it? Yep. I'm glad we leave you with hard decisions of all kinds of good things to prioritize. Thanks, Joyce. Joan.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. If you want to, if you take the immersion and not the teacher's training, can you still share some of this with a client? If you're working one-on-one, is that considered teaching, or is it mostly for teaching a class, a group? And my second question related to that is about licensing by state. Is this something, if you practice this, like something that I practice requires that's not massage, requires a massage license in Florida. And without that, I can't do it. So.
Okay. The first thing is everybody's encouraged to share what they feel they know. I will say that. And I will also say that I have seen people teach bouncing on heels when they thought they knew it and they didn't even come close to it, because they show me later what they're teaching, and I'm like, oh, holy cannoli. Okay, how did this person get so confused about, the most basic bouncing on heels? So be sure that when you go to share something, you've taken the time to really use the replay and do it. Are you supposed to be teaching the work if you didn't certify? Well, no, you're not supposed to be teaching the work if you didn't certify. There's a reason why the teacher training is what it is. But we don't want people to be so hamstrung that if they have a little something that they feel like they've gotten that's helpful from the program and they're able to go, no, I really got it. I get it. I've watched it. I've got it. I'm good with it. And you share it with someone. That's up to you. Now, in your massage license, you're usually prohibited in most massage practices from teaching certain kinds of things like exercises. So that's a whole different issue. We do have a national body called the Foundation for Movement Intelligence, and you do need to be certified through them when you are actively a Bones for Life teacher. You will get close to a year. You will get almost a whole full year's membership in the Foundation for Movement Intelligence at no additional charge when you sign up with us right now. And then after that, you'll be in charge of paying your own membership. If you aren't a teacher, it's like $50. And if you are a teacher, it's $100 a year. In terms of, specific things to Florida, I can't answer that. Every state, every set of licensure, every state board has something different. So you might have some things that you need to know about there, but nothing that I know for sure about that I can tell you. Okay. Did I do it for you, Joan? Give me a thumb up or thumb down.
I think so. I just, I wasn't clear about whether this is considered like strictly an exercise class or if it's would be a form of body work that you were teaching that, or practicing.
It would be more of an exercise class than it would be considered body work. That's for sure.
It would.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Thank you.
However, we've written the guidelines for the National Massage Therapy and Body Work so that we could get CEUs for it. We've written those guidelines around both making sure that the therapist gets all the help that they need for having a good use of their body while doing massage therapy, as well as growing their understanding of the relationships of things that are going on in their client's movement and body. And that's why we have CEUs for it, is because that's the angle that we have gone through. Does that make sense? If we'd have couched it as an exercise class, generally massage therapy boards do not want their massage therapists thinking that they teach exercise. That's a little more dicey. So when you're doing things with CEUs, you have to really pay attention to what it is what these boards want. Yeah. Okay. So Cindy asked if you decide to take the teacher training, is the cost of the $5,795 total, or is that on top of the immersions? It's total if you sign up right now. It's total if you sign up right now. If you start signing up separately, then the price is going to go up. Let me grab. What's the effect of bouncing on heels, like using the Merodyne? You mean what's the effect of Merodyne? Or what's the effect of Merodyne? Has shown really great results in reducing fall risk, but it has struggled, like almost every other program, to show a reduction, an increase in bone mineral density. But still, I do like the Merodyne plate for a lot of reasons. Yeah, I understand, Bonnie. Joyce wants to know perhaps the Wednesday and the replay for Saturday, since I already have a Saturday morning place with the. Well, you would if you did Wednesday night, you'd do the Friday replay. You wouldn't want to do the Saturday replay. What you missed would have been the Friday night. You'd just do the Friday replay. Rhonda?
Thank you. So if I'm signing up for myself only and I don't want to do teacher training, do I need immersion 1 and 2, or is there something in 2 that I still need?
Well, immersion 2 is different than immersion 1 and immersion 3. So they each build on each other, and the depth of what you get goes, well, let's see. If immersion 1's here, the depth of what you get keeps going deeper, growing. You get more and more power, more and more clarity, but it's not necessarily, right for every person, either based on schedule or money or their health status. If you feel that you're someone who's more fragile, I would recommend that you sign up for immersion 1 only. What do I mean by fragile? Well, you know in yourself. Like if you feel like, I don't know, I don't have very much energy, and I feel like I can barely walk down the street.
Oh, I don't
and
have
getting
that. I have
hurt
no
and all of
problems with it.
those.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with energy. That's not my issue. It's like the pins and needles and pain. That's really where it is.
Mhm.
So if I'm focusing strictly on that, I don't know if I should just sign up for immersion 1, keep with a learning body and just leave it there and just do it that way, or if I should just transfer over to
I
immersion
can't
1
answer that
and
question
2.
for you. You're going to have to answer that question for yourself.
Who's teaching the Saturday class again?
Brian and Andrea.
Brian and Andrea. Okay.
Yes, thank you. And if you take immersions 1 through 3, can you teach? No, you're not a teacher taking immersions 1 through 3. You're not even close to being a teacher after taking immersions 1 through 3. So you do need to take the teacher training. Yeah. Yes. Good questions. Really good questions. Let's see if I missed anything. Looks like I got them. Okay, I think I'm going to head off to see clients for the afternoon. This replay will be up. You'll be getting an email with details. If you did not click on the links that I put in the chat, let me give you a chance to do that again once more, because you can just have these windows open if you click on them now, and that will allow you to look at them throughout the day, and you have 1 week to decide. But of course, if you know what date you want, day of the week you want to sign up for that. Someone asked, what's the limit in the teacher training? 35. And yes, you can decide immersion 2 after finishing immersion 1. Yep, you can. You won't get the discount, but you can. And then Beth, in addition to the weekly Bones for Life sessions, do you do some things on your own throughout your... Well, we encourage you to do that, but we also know that people doing an immersion oftentimes feel like, whoa, that is a lot of information. And they just feel like they need to process it through the rest of the week. But we are going to at least encourage you to bounce on heels. And for those of you who are having questions about your learning body, please send those in about the schedule to support@futurelifenow.com. We have emailed the schedule for you, and I'd be happy to give it to you again for April, May, June. We've got the schedule for several months actually ready for you. We've happy to reshare that with you. Okay. May you contact me outside about scholarship requirements are on the page. If you look under the frequently asked questions, there's a link to go to the scholarship policy and to apply right there. And I think it'll answer all your questions, but if it doesn't, you can send in your questions to support@futurelifenow.com, and the staff will be happy to help you with that. Okay, everybody, much appreciation for you and your dedication to your own health and well-being, and to the health and well-being of others around you in whatever way that you do that, teachers or not, or rehab people or not. And I'm looking forward, Brian, Andrea, Christine, we're looking forward to seeing you inside the program or somewhere inside of Future Life Now. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.